Hello students, I'm going to make this video brief. I'm going to go over quickly a student example of this research paper proposal kind of essay. So in the instructions, you will see these general outlines for the paper. They're general, you can use these. You could come up with your own way of organizing the paper, but this hopefully will give you an idea to start with your organization. And so let's get to her essay. So before you listen to this with me, and I don't even know if you need to listen to this video, to be honest, but you should read this essay and see if you can divide it up into sections on your own. And read it without even looking at my comments, and then look at my comments. So come up with your own kind of opinion about the division and how she's organizing the paper. So your introduction, I'd like you to imagine that when you talk about the problem and the synthesis are a general introduction, a long introduction. And then your thesis can come at the end of that. Your thesis can come at the very beginning in different places. Typically, it would be found at the very end of your introduction. But I'd like you to state the problem at Sac City and then do a synthesis of your research, and somewhere in that have a clear thesis statement. So this is what she does. She doesn't have a synthesis because I didn't ask her to do that, but she has a clear background of the situation, of the problem, and then a clear thesis at the end of her intro. Her first section, she focuses on one part of the problem, and then she connects it back to Sac City. So this is a pattern in her essay here. She has two major parts to her body section. The first part of the body section, she's talking about how the childcare issue at Sac City, this body section is not talking about Sac City. She's talking about how this is a problem in other places also, in other academic institutions. And then here she talks about how in the Sacramento region, so she's making it even a broader problem that childcare can be an issue, not just in colleges, but also in the larger Sacramento region. And here's another example from that supports it being a problem in other colleges. So this longer section doesn't talk about Sac City. But then at the end of this section, she returns to Sac City to make it, to connect her discussion of the childcare issue back to the problem of Sac City's childcare issue. Her next section, she focuses on solutions or alternatives. This is the next section of her body section. And so again, she's focusing on other solutions found in other places, specifically Merced. So she's talking about the Merced solution. And then here is another example, right? Focusing on a different solution. Sorry. And then she's looking at the problem at Sac City. So she returns to Sac City. And she includes here, there's one example of how to connect it with Vendantum's empathy podcast. So this is a little underdeveloped. If yours could be a little bit, if you do include it, try and make it a little stronger than this. But it's nice to see the connection with something that we read as a class. And then she ends her, well, she returns it directly to Sac City. So she has a general solution from another college or other colleges, and then she makes that solution relevant or real for Sacramento City, how Sacramento City could have that resolution. And it's a little bit complicated. So she includes that complication here. This is a nice nuance or complication in her solution. Just saying that it's not easy. And then at the end, she has a nice short conclusion. So this ended up being 5 minutes rather than 3 minutes, like I thought. But anyhow, hopefully you read this and you find it helpful in developing your own research paper on the Sac City blind spot.